TitleMatchNetwork.com.
What do you remember about your first match?
Oh, it was Professor Malenko in Lynchburg, Virginia.
Wow.
Yep. I worked with him on September 16th, 1970. I want to say 78 or 79. I guess I could do the math and figure it out. I turned 23 the next day. That's how I remember it.
Oh, wow.
And so I was Lynchburg, Virginia, and I had to go down there. And obviously, you know, I was with Scott, and he got me booked through the Crockett's, booked me to do a match, and I went out there with him. He turned me every way but loose, you know, spun me upside down, made me look good, made me look stupid. I really felt stupid walking to the ring in my underwear, you know, because that's pretty much what it is, right?
Yeah.
In those days, you went out in a little pair of tights. So here I am. I'm a hockey player from northern Minnesota. Never been out there in front of people with nothing but a little pair of tights on and some boots. I was like, oh, man, you know, this is like weird. And then you go out there and this old man spins you around upside down, makes you look and feel stupid. But it was fun, you know. And then I remember coming back to the dressing room, and Baron von Raschke was in the dressing room. He said, so you want to be a wrestler, huh, kid? Yeah, no, yeah. Well, from then on, it's history, you know.
Wow. How do you think that you developed your style over the years? You and your brother had a real signature style to you guys.
You know, my style was always kind of one of, and Scott's. You always had to learn that you had to be able to shift gears. You had to be able to. Some guys are just, you know, they don't know when to stop. They don't know when to slow down. They don't know when to wait. They don't know nothing. They just fly all over the place. But you really got to be able to learn and listen to the crowd, to what they want, you know. In the old days, in the kayfabe time, you know, you'd never be talking about this, but you had to learn about the crowd. They might want tickles and tackles. They might want midget stuff. They might be there for fun, have fun. And you might be going out there trying to murder the guy and do all this tough stuff, and they're going. So you have to learn to what they wanted, you know, and so it just takes a certain amount of time to learn how to do that. And you'd have to learn that, you know, sometimes you'd be doing something and you need to, when it's your time and you've just stopped, let's say the baby face with a big clothesline, well, now you got to shift gears and kick his ass for a few minutes, you know. Then you can slow back down, you know. And I guess, so when I was out there, we always went, the high spots were always going and there's always something going on. And then you'd sit down and you'd wait and see if they liked it or if they didn't, you know. And if they didn't, well, okay, that didn't work. What do you think? Let's try this. And so you do that. And then if they burst on that, well, okay, now you know what they want.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, well then just give them what they want.
Huh. A lot of the veterans that we've talked to over the years, they talk about what you're talking about now, and they say that's the problem with a lot of the younger guys today, is that they lay out their matches, and no matter what the crowd's doing, they just have to stick to going from 1 to 2 to 3.
That's exactly right. They'll stand and they're told, you know, you got 10 minutes, you got 5 minutes, you got whatever amount of time. Well, they'll stand in the dressing room for an hour going over a 5-minute match. And let me ask, these guys, I give them a hard time all the time. I says, you got a 5-minute match, you've been standing there for an hour. What the hell are you working out? You know, you can't, these guys, they say, well, I'll put my foot here and then you do this. And it never works that way. Never does. It never does. Because if one guy forgets one thing, the whole thing's screwed up. And now what do? It's an ad-lib situation. It's always ad-lib because you get in there and you might say, oh, we'll do this or this. And then you get in there and some fat lady in the front row's flashing your tits at you and you're falling over and the whole thing changes. The whole thing changes. So suddenly you're not doing that match anymore. And you have to be able to ad-lib. And that's exactly what the young guys aren't getting, is the ability to ad-lib, because it's going to screw up. A guy's going to go over the top rope and blow out a knee. Well, you still got 10 minutes, and it's on TV. Okay, so what do? Well, you go out there and you drag him around or you put him down and you kill time and, you give him a chance to gather his thoughts and get his stuff together, and maybe he can continue or maybe he can't. If he can't, well, you got to go home. But usually they're able to continue, but That's an ad lib situation, and these young guys, no, they can't do it
Yeah.
because they don't. They shouldn't be. The young guys, once they learn to work and learn the moves and are able to, if one is able to call it, they should not be able to talk to each other before the matches. They should be put over there and over here, and they, okay, who's going over or whatever. He's going to do this. That's it. No calling the high spots, no nothing until you get in the ring. It'd be better for everybody involved.
Yeah. Back to your career. You wrestled in the Central States area for a while when you were a youngster.
Central States.
Bob Geigel, Harley Race. Yeah. What are your memories of that territory?
Oh, Bob Geigel. Hey, did I bullshit you? Yeah, fuck Bob. I remember Bob Geigel in the Central States. There was Brian St. John and Randy Alls and Billy Superstar and what was his name?
Bob Brown? Was Bob Brown?
Bob Brown was there, and a guy named Love. What was his name?
Huh.
His last name was Love. I can't.
Christopher Love, the manager?
No. Before him, and there was Frank Morel. Frank Morel, the French Angel, was there, and there was a little guy named the Turk. Turk was a bald-headed little round guy, he was like a European Turk, and then there was a referee who refereed for Bill Watts in Louisiana for a while. God, I can't remember their name.
Huh.
But they used to get drunk, and then they'd eat garlic. The Turk liked to eat this garlic. And they'd like drink whiskey and stuff before the matches and eat this garlic. And then Saturday afternoon, there you are, and you're wrestling the Turk. Well, oh, yeah, he smells and he stinks. And him and his buddy, the referee, are laughing and giggling at you, because they know they're stupid.
Yeah.
And you're out there just trying to get through it, So they're laughing and giggling and breathing in your face. And, oh, God, it was a mess.
Wow.
But that was a good territory. I enjoyed that. Brody came in. That's where I met Brody.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of good guys. We used to go down to, what was the name of the bar? Geigel had a bar called the Tinder Trap. Where was it? And after the show in Kansas City, that's where you'd go to get paid, right? And it was always stuffed with marks, and it was no bigger than the room we're in, and it was wild, but it was fun, It's where I met my wife, so it was a good place.
Wow. What do you remember of Harley Race from back then?
Harley Race back in those days was a hard-nosed kayfabe. He was not necessarily around there at the time. I think he was more out carrying the belt. Yeah. And I don't even know if he had St. Louis at that time. But, we'd run to St. Louis for... Who the heck was the guy over there? I forget, but, Geigel.
Muchnick? Sam Muchnick?
Yeah. A couple guys would get to go to St. Louis once a week or whatever, and Harley would be over there. But, Harley at that time wasn't around there that much, and I didn't know Harley then. I got to know Harley a little bit later, more into the early 80s, mid 80s.
Early members of Skandor Akbar from the territory.
Well, Skandor, I didn't even meet then. I didn't meet Skandor Akbar. I'm trying to think. Skandor, he wasn't in Louisiana when I first met him. I think Skandor was going to be in Kansas City when I was coming back one time from Japan. And Jimmy Garvin was supposed to be there, who I knew through my brother and that. And then when I came back from Japan and went down there, Garvin had already split, and Akbar was there. And Akbar was very nice, as far as a guy. And
sure.
As far as his stuff at the ring, he was fine. But really, I got to know Akbar a little bit more, I think, in Texas later.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.